digital radio.
Worldwide at xfm.co.uk.
This is XFM.
Hey there, this is Joe Cornish.
Bonjour. Je m'appelle Adam Buxton.
And the reason Adam is speaking French, in case you didn't recognise that language, is because we're in the south of France and we're having a lovely picnic. We've come on a bit of a holiday, an away break. And is that what they call them, an away break?
You can call it an away break. Yeah, technically that is true. We're away, we're on a break. It's like an away break. Another thing you could call it is a holiday go.
Because we've gone.
We're
on holiday.
Exactly.
Yeah, and we're having a little picnic out here. We're in the south of France. What's the nearest town?
Avignon.
And we're having un petit repas au dehors.
Un petit pique-nique.
Nous avons un petit pique-nique
Un petit
dans une
pique-nique.
field.
Et je mange une pomme.
Adam's having an apple. And
C'est délicieux.
it's a beautiful day, and if you're in London, if it's a little bit grey, then you should really be envious of us, because the countryside here is absolument magnifique.
Oh oui, je agree.
Les oiseaux dans le ciel, dans le parapluie, parce que les beautiful ladies of Paris. Do you know that song? Do you know that song?
No one knows that song.
Do you know that song?
You made that song up,
I
so
did, yeah.
nobody would know.
Yeah, but you know, by the time this goes out, it'll probably be popular enough.
Les oiseaux, je l'appuie dans la part de parapluie. Is that how it goes?
Yes. When in France, eh? When in France, sing as the French do. And that was a very popular French song from the 50s. But what a lovely spread we've got here in front of us. We've got all sorts of... Because France is famous for its food.
You know, if I had my way, I would just slightly turn the volume down on the cicadas there.
Well, I like that sound.
Because they are going nuts. I mean, have you ever listened to an individual cicada?
Avez-vous écouté de la cicada du gay qui était sur la... That's another song. Sur la plombe de la moille.
La plombe de la moille. What the is that?
I don't know. It's a phonetically approximate French song. I'm just approximating, all right? At least I'm making the effort.
All right, I'll make the effort.
I'm phonetically approximating a French song.
Oh, petit peu, je n'ai pas le vide dans le sandwich, et je n'ai pas de poubelle.
That's good. It sounded slightly threatening.
Anyway, shall we get to the podcast?
Yeah, let's get to the podcast. We'll join you back at our picnic in a couple of minutes.
Cheers.
That sounds interesting, let's talk about it. Let's start talking now.
So last week I went to see Monster House in 3D with my son Frank. We both enjoyed it. I was very impressed by the 3D, weren't you?
Adam, you know, talk about telling your grandmother how to suck eggs. I'm Mr. 3D. I've been banging on about 3D for the last 2 years.
I know you have with...
Polar Express.
Polar Express, but you also said that it was because you were incredibly stoned at the time.
That is not true. It's not true.
What other 3D films have there been since Polar Express?
Ant Bully.
Ant Bully, is that 3D as well?
Yep.
Is that good 3D?
Nope.
No.
Superman.
That's 3D.
Portions in 3D.
Portions?
25 minutes of it in 3D.
Oh.
There've been many IMAX films in 3D, but, you know, just short fellas for Aliens of the Deep, that kind of
James
shit.
Cameron's Search for the Lavatory.
Yeah.
Is that
it's
in
not
3D?
A search for a lavatory.
Right.
Actually, Adam. What a very silly thing to say.
Me and my team are desperate for the toilet.
James Cameron.
So we have been searching on the bottom of the ocean depths for a toilet. My friend Bill Paxton also is desperate for the toilet.
How belittling.
Join us.
How belittling to a man.
As we journey to the bottom of the sea.
A great man.
Looking for a toilet.
Jim Cameron.
There.
Who has sacrificed.
Can you see? A giant white porcelain toilet.
An extraordinary career making blockbusters in order to become an explorer.
Which has been down here at the bottom of the sea for hundreds of years.
He takes his millions earned from blockbusters and instead pumps it into deep sea exploration.
Yeah, you didn't even like that film, did you?
No, that film's rubbish.
Yeah.
But it is true, if you're out there and you haven't seen one of these new 3D films, it is bum-blowing.
Yeah. No, it was really good. It was so intense that my son Frank had to take off his glasses.
He's too young. How old is he? 3?
4.
4. You're being irresponsible to take him to it.
I felt as if I was,
Yeah.
yeah. It's a PG, and I think it was a little bit intense.
Yeah, it's quite a scary movie.
Yeah. He liked it, though. He did like it. He just had to take off the glasses. But I was really impressed. Haven't seen a 3D film in years and years and years. And it made me think, like, surely the time is right to go back to some of the gimmicks of yore that were abandoned because they didn't necessarily work, and kind of revisit them. Because 3D's had its slumps. You know, it fell into disrepute during the late 80s and the 90s.
I'm not sure whether it ever, fell into repute.
Well, yeah, it was always kind of a joke, wasn't it? But I mean, people used to, in the 60s, or the late 50s, they churned out 3D
Andy
films.
Warhol made Flesh for Frankenstein in 3D. I'm trying to think of good 3D films. I mean, there's really good B movies, obviously, like The Bubble, whatever it's called. But I'm thinking 50s and 60s. I don't think there's any actual respectful films done in 3D.
Respectful. All of them
Yeah.
are totally disrespectful.
Yeah, they got no respect.
Got no respect.
No respect for quality.
But I was thinking, do you remember Smell-O-Vision?
I do, yeah.
Smell-O-Vision was a real thing that they used in 1959. The film I did some research.
Oh, no.
Behind the Great Wall, they used a process called aromarama. You don't automatically have to do that just because I've done some research.
I think I do, that's the thing.
I don't do that when you go on your self-indulgent rambles.
I never do any research, though.
Yeah, well, that's good for you, but if I didn't do any research, I
go
would
on.
sit in silence.
Odorama.
Okay.
Aroma.
No one appreciates my research.
Have you ever thought, like, you're in the cinema and you've got a build-up of wind, that you could time it to when, like, a character goes to the loo or something?
To create your own Smell-O-Vision. Yeah, well, that's a brilliant idea. Did you get the sarcasm there? That's a brilliant idea. How often in films does a character go to the loo? Not very often. Unless it's a Tarantino thing. A lot. That's what you're coming back with, is it? Oh, a lot. I didn't realise.
They can't stop.
There was me thinking they didn't go very often. In fact, they do. They go a lot. I didn't realise.
Characters go all the time. Jurassic Park, Jonathan Pryce goes to the loo. Gets eaten by a dinosaur. Name me another film. Trainspotting. Dives down the loo.
Oh, yeah, thanks, Andy.
Another one. Hit me with another one.
That's the only one.
Lawrence of Arabia. Constantly in the lavvy. Well, they haven't got any lavvies in the desert, so he can't.
Can you think of any good new gimmicks that we should have?
Well, it's all about senses, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's about enhancing the sensory experience. So 3D is obviously brilliant. Have you thought of anything?
No, not really. I mean, I thought Sense-Around they had, but was that in a film? Was that like a spoof in a film?
That's in the Kentucky Fried Movie, isn't it? With the guy that stands behind the guy at the cinema and like slaps his cheeks and like, ruffles his hair. Yeah.
So in Superman, for example, someone could just lift you up and blow on your face while he's flying.
That's a good idea. Lift you up and blow on your face.
Yes.
What about a sexy film
Yeah.
and something sexy?
Yeah, some kind of massage pants thing.
Yeah, or something built into the bottom of the popcorn tub,
Uh-huh.
because that's sitting in your lap, isn't it?
What's that film where the guy sticks his knob through the... Oh, it's Diner, isn't it? Where Mickey Rourke sticks his knob through the popcorn tub. Why would you stick your knob through the popcorn tub? It would get so yucky. Oh.
It's so that the girl
mess.
sitting next to you touches it.
Obviously, but what kind of thrill are you going to get out of that? She'll just touch the very end of the thing.
Corny, sexy thrill. But no, it wouldn't be a good thing to do, because where would you go from there? After she'd realised that you'd stuck your manhood through the bottom of the popcorn and she'd been, like, tricked into touching it,
Yeah.
she wouldn't come back, would she?
Well, no, I think in the film...
Because she couldn't trust you. I mean, God knows where it would pop up next.
Well, exactly. If
It would
you're
be an
that
atmosphere
low-
of willy-based paranoia in your entire relationship. She wouldn't put her hand... She'd have to screen stuff in case it had... Like, anything held close to your body
Yeah.
would be out of the question.
I know, she'd never read a book.
Like, at winter, it would be especially difficult when you had gloves. She wouldn't know that your arm was in your sleeve. She'd assume you just tied the glove to the end of the sleeve and instead were
That's
doing
right.
something very filthy with that.
She'd never put her slippers on. You could lie under the bed. I was thinking you'd lie under the bed sideways, right? You'd have to have enough clearance under the bed to do this. But
Yeah.
you'd lie under the bed sideways. You'd cut a little hole in the back of the slippers, right? and slip it through, and then the slippers are just peeping out from under the bed, and you say, why not pop your slippers on? You'd have to pre-record that because otherwise you'd know you were under the bed. I mean, no, obviously this is going to extreme lengths, but imagine she'd get a shock.
When she touches your willy with her toes.
When she squashes
Imagine
it
the thrill.
with her foot.
That was interesting, we talked about it. Let's stop talking now.
Man, it's lovely out here.
We finished, we basically finished most of the savoury foods, but of course in France, there's such a wonderful mixture of foods that you can't really separate sweet and savoury like you can in Angleterre.
No.
The savoury and the sweet mix and mould into a big, big lump of old sludge in the tummy.
It's not unheard of to cut open a pan au chocolat and pop in some onions and herring. And that's what the French call le pain au chocolat.
Le pain au chocolat.
Oui.
Oui, c'est absolument délicieux.
Excusez-moi, madame. Avez-vous les pains au chocolat?
Oui, nous avons 2 pains au chocolat.
Pain au chocolat?
Oui, monsieur. Combien de pains au chocolat voulez-vous?
Je veux 19.
19, c'est un numéro très grand.
Oui, parce que je l'aime beaucoup.
There we go, that was a bit of French.
Yeah, that was a bit of French drama.
You won't have understood that unless you can speak French.
That was word for word. That was a very early Jean Cocteau play.
Yeah.
Called.
So what a fantastic picnic, and there's a couple of slightly frightening looking farmers who've been staring at us from across the field. One of them's got what looks like a rusty bloody scythe, and the other one's dragging the carcass of a pig, and they're quite sort of frightening looking. I don't know, they're sort of staring at us. Are we trespassing?
They're not upset because we're nude, are they?
They might be upset. Oh, you would have thought le déjeuner sur l'herbe would be an entirely naturellement situation.
I might pop a couple of clothes on because I'm frightened of that guy on the left there. He's beginning to drool. We'll be back shortly. Goodbye.
This is XFM.
Hey, this is Adam.
Hello, this is Joe.
We're just hanging out in the studio. This is where the band rehearse, the Adam and Joe band.
Yeah, and if you're a regular listener to the podcast, you'll know that we're not allowed to play any real music on these podcasts, even though our XFM show has a lot of music in it. So we have to simulate popular music.
Yeah, exactly. Sometimes we even stimulate popular music, you know.
Stimulate it?
Yeah, we just get a CD out and we tickle it.
Tickle it. Today we're going to try and do some folk music because it's very popular in the charts, right?
Once again, we should stress this is improvised folk. Okay, here we go.
Ah, that's better.
Foldy roll, roldy foldy, foldy ra rubandoo, foldy roldy. What's wrong with that?
This isn't like it's not a sort of song from
Man,
the
I spent
Middle
all weekend
Ages.
at a folk festival.
They do not sing Foldy Roldy.
They do.
Who did? Fairport
the
Convention.
Foldy Rollers. The Foldy Rollers.
Jose Gonzalez doesn't do Foldy
Okay.
Roldy.
What sort of thing does he do then?
He's, I don't really know, he just does phone adverts.
Okay, well, I'll try phone advert then.
Yeah.
Phony wony, phony wony. Phony wony, phony roo.
That is not better. That's not better. What,
It's
you're
similar.
saying phony?
It's similar to, it's Foldy Roldy, only with phony wony.
That's no good.
Okay, I'll try something else. I'm
That's
sorry.
not an accurate
sorry.
folk thing. You ready?
Yeah.
I'll play some minor chords for you, see if that makes any difference. Here we go.
Gypsy turnips on the wall. Scary stranger with a dark hat so tall. Read my palm on a cloudy day in Wensleydale. Offered me cheese and biscuits told me I would not fail. How the strummer strums, and the sound of the drums across the valley. Sally, you're my pally. Oh dear.
Well, there you go. There's the Adam and Joe folk band.
It's currently being used for a Rover advert. We got paid 30 million.
XFM.
Do you know what the difference between raisins and sultanas is? This isn't a joke.
What's the difference between raisins and sultanas?
Yeah.
Gosh, I don't know, no.
Well, you should.
Well, let me guess. A raisin is a plum, right? That's been left in the sun.
Are you serious?
A plum.
Do you know how big plums are?
Yeah, but they shrivel up and get small.
Not that flipping much, they don't.
Or is it a grape?
Don't help him, Xanthi.
Is it a grape? It's either a grape or a plum. Plums are just big grapes. They're part of the same family.
Plums have stones.
Yeah, but so do grapes.
Tiny
They
little
have
ones.
pips. Stones are just big pips. What's the difference between a raisin and a sultana?
Yeah. Do you genuinely think raisins are little plums?
Raisins are dried up, shriveled up plums. No, shriveled up grapes.
And what's a sultana?
A sultana is an Arab princess.
Princess, I think.
No, what's a sultana? No, I don't know. Tell me. Stop lauding it. You only got it off the internet.
Yeah,
Stop pretending you're clever.
No, I was curious. You know, I was looking at the sultanas and the raisins, and I thought maybe it was just where they came from. Like raisins were Californian and sultanas were perhaps from somewhere in Europe. But actually, raisins are from green grapes, sultanas are from black grapes.
I knew it.
Simple as that.
I knew it.
See? This is classic radio. Fun and informative. Isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, the raisins, the plums, the grapes.
We could, you know, if this was an award-winning show, a Sony award-winning show, we could make a whole big, long thing out of that.
Yeah, if we were Christian O'Connell, we could.
If we were Christian O'Connell, we could do a whole show about that, and we'd call it Raisin and Sultana Celebrity Challenge.
Yeah.
And you'd have to guess which celebrities had... Oh, fuck.
XFM.
Yes, it's XFM, and it's in London.
Oh, man, I'm totally stuffed.
Hello there. You join us at the end of our picnic. News everyone, stuffed ourselves.
Excuse me.
We've eaten a great deal of stodgy food, but it's lovely. I'm getting very hot. The only thing that's annoyed us is the level of insect activity here in La Belle France.
It's out of control. If I wasn't so smashed, I'd really try and whop some of these things off me.
There's flying creatures that I've never seen in my life before. They look like they've been newly invented by Jesus just specifically to upset this particular picnic.
And some of them have got, you know, just when you think they're going to end, they've got like a sort of extra trailer
They're like bendy buses.
on the back of them. I'm dressed from head to toe in orange now. I've put my clothes back on.
Right, which is a very wasp-attracting colour.
They love orange.
Love orange.
You know, and that's apparently the worst thing about being in Guantanamo is
the wasps.
The wasps, because of the orange boiler suits.
Right.
They did it deliberately.
Are you sure it's the worst thing?
Apparently so, yeah. They organise picnics and they just have a terrible picnic because of the wasps, and it's miserable apparently there.
Bye-bye.
Je t'aime.
Je quite like.
XFM.
This is XFM.